Hello and welcome, my friends. It is June. Oh my gosh, unbelievable. Everyone is reopening. Everything is headed in the right direction. Today's episode is about my first experience back in a dealership in over, almost 70 days. Had to get the oil changed on the car, had to take her in. I went out to my local dealer, also a client, friend of mine. So I was able to have a lot of people at my disposal to talk with. And I'll tell you what, it was interesting to hear some of the feedback. So let's start with service, right? I show up to a service appointment, which I made online via their request. Even though they have quick lube, it's like, hey, please, make appointments. So I did. Showed up to my appointment. Everyone went about their business as usual, but certain people had masks on, certain people didn't, right? So to me, I had one on, so it doesn't bother me. To me, from a consumer standpoint, it was a little bit of an inconsistency because I didn't know. Is it required at your business? Are your employees required to wear it? Should they be wearing it before they talk to me? So it kind of created more questions than it answered, sure. But other than that, the plexiglass was everywhere between everyone's desk. No one asked me to sign anything, which I love, not even touch an iPad. People were like, yes, you acknowledge? Yes, I acknowledge. They moved on. So that part of it was really cool and wasn't very much different. So they told me, hey, it's going to be a little while. Obviously, service, we're out of loaners. The loaner programs are probably a lot harder if you're sanitizing and doing the right thing. You probably are limited on loaners. They were. And so they said, hey, you mind hanging out? Which didn't bother me because I was going to go talk to everyone else. So I went and talked to my new car manager at the store, and I said, hey, allocation, because we happen to be having a car on order ourselves. And I said, hey, it's allocation, how are we looking? He said, Sean, it doesn't look like anything's going to be really with your car caught up. Looks like everything should be fine for our, fall delivery day. Okay. He said, but some of his other models were already getting transitioned into 2021s, right, from 2020. So you're going to see that sort of changeover, I think, on the new car side probably sooner rather than later. If they're going to ramp back up production, they may as well probably swap over to a new unit year. I might see those come out a little bit sooner. They talked about, on the new car side, they talked about their ability to have a DR tool on their site has helped them and their customers communicate better. And you see that is the great use of DR. If it helps with communication, wonderful. If we can stop talking about end-to-end car deals and Amazon and buying cars online, so stupid, we'll be better off. Because that's all they said to me was, Sean, it's helped us enhance our process. Now their process, not like everyone else's process, is they're willing to make car deals however you want to make a car deal. I asked all the managers I talked to, hey guys, if I called you, if I texted you, if I emailed you, and I wanted to work a complete car deal that way, would you do it? Their answer was unequivocally, absolutely, yes, we would do it. And they looked at me like, why the hell wouldn't you? Interesting thought of why wouldn't you? I don't think a lot of people will. I think that the consumer appetite for a streamlined process of buying a car is at an all-time high, and I don't see it going away. That does not mean that we as an industry are going to do it, because I already see customers' complaints, 4 hours at a showroom just to go home without a car. Drove 3 hours for a car that wasn't there when I got there. This sort of shit is going to affect you moving forward as a dealership. So then I went over and talked to my used car guy. And I said, well, bud, you got a lot going on. What are you looking at? I said, hey, I've had to take some serious losers. Serious, because we got to get off them. They went from, they were 60 days old before it started. Now they're over 100 without any eyeballs, without any movement. So they are taking wholesale loss and retail loss, doing whatever they can to switch over the inventory. Now we started talking about new cars, right? And a new car allocation, the one thing I will say is that there's been a little bit of in the history in the past, if you had cars stuck at port, you got to just take all the cars you're given. Well, now it seems like some of the OEMs are allowing you to release cars from port as needed. That's interesting because you could use that as sort of a backstop for yourself, because what you know right now about new cars, and for you dealers who are just trying to move units, get them off the road, that's good now. But if that continues, that's going to lose steam, because as of right now, you won't see a new car on your showroom for probably 60 days. So I've had dealers come to me and change their mentality from volume to gross over this time period to make up for it. Makes sense. But on the used car side, and actually both new and used, stated to me there were more trade-ins. That's interesting. I thought, why is that? Then I read out loud, I said, I wonder if it's less private sale, right? Because who wants to sell a car on Craigslist now? I don't know. I didn't want to do it before. But now I would assume there's even less people. And I've always told people, I've told customers this my whole life. Folks, you want to sell your car on your own? Get in the car business. I'll hire you tomorrow. Let's go. Let's get to work. Otherwise, leave selling to selling people and move on. If the prices are fair, you should be able to move forward, right? So the used car side, everyone's seeing more trade-ins. Used car market is crazy. Prices are here one day, there the next. But they're still buying through auction. There's still obviously a ton of available units. So here's what I'll say. We are in a new time, sure. Plexiglass, sure. 6 feet, sure. Masks, all that, whatever, fine. But it still has nothing to do with our ability or inability to make a car deal at the customer's convenience. Because now what I've heard, customers who are setting appointments are showing at an unbelievable rate, somewhere in the 75-80% rate when it used to be 40-50. And the close rate used to be 30-40, now it's 70-80 on shown appointments. Because people don't want to dick around. If you start to look at the data, I'm sure over the next 60 days, you'll see that the average customer visits less than one dealership. I mean, it's been 1.8, 1.7, whatever. I imagine it's going to be a lot closer to 1 than it will be 2 because people want to cut down on that, okay? Then you have customers on, this client uses a DR tool, and they got a call from another customer who said, hey, I actually live, 3 hours away, and my local dealer doesn't have that tool. So how can I get them to have that tool? My buddy's response was, I don't give a shit what they have. Do you want to buy the car on my tool on my website? Well, could I have it delivered? Of course you could. Boom, done. Just like that. Customer said, okay, well then I'll just buy it from you through your tool. Work with you. So what happens is, at their store on DR, is you start talking to me on the phone, Sean, yeah, great, wonderful. And I say to you, cool, I'm going to send you a link from the DR tool to get this whole thing started for you. And that is how it's being used. It is not being used. Customer sits down, buys a $60,000 Audi online. It's not how it's being done. It's being done as a part of a process and communication from consumer to salesperson. And the manager also said that the DR tool is great because he doesn't have to go and pencil a bunch of deals because it's all kind of built in. Cool. That's about streamlining a process. That's what we should all be talking about. How do we make it easier for a customer to buy a car, but don't force them to just buy it online and at a distance? So I want to leave you with this thought, is as we get back to the normal, whatever the hell that means anymore, are you going to have your dealerships return to business as usual? And I mean that across the board. Are you going to have the same number of employees, expectations, hours? And then, are you going to have the same processes? Have you learned anything in 60 days? Those are my questions. So, do me a favor, go out, enjoy your week. Thank you for joining me this Monday. Next Monday on the show, we're talking about appreciation. You're going to want to be there. Have a great week. Thanks.